Alright, well, if you caught the last video of the rigger, you know that I broke the servo on it, and I'm having a really hard time getting it out. I don't know if glue got on it or what, but it won't budge. If you look right here on the back, see how the round piece there is square? I've been squeezing that with a pair of channel locks trying to pull that out, and it will not pull out. Kind of frustrating. But I'll get it out eventually, even if I got to cut it out with the Dremel. But what we got to work on, we have to work on this situation here. So you see how I've kind of got my coolant lines kind of kinked, you know? And then the water jacket, let's see. Water jacket sticks up about that far. Not bad. But when we switch to the TP motor in the future, that's going to stick out to about here. So the flat hatch won't work anymore. So this is what I have made. Took a piece of foam, cut it out, and what it is, it's a little bit smaller than the flat track. See how it's a little bit smaller right there? You got a little bit on this side, a little bit on the other side. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this piece that I have sanded and molded into this shape. We're going to take it out to the garage, and we're going to put some carbon fiber over it. So we out here in the garage now. Went ahead and just took some carnauba wax. I'm going to use this brass door kick plate here because I don't have any piece of glass to work on. If you can tell, I've already kind of put the wax on there. I'm going to let it dry. But this is the foam piece that I cut out that we're going to do some carbon fiber on. I've got this carbon fiber here, which is 12 foot long, 6 inches wide, 3K twill weave. I originally wanted to do saran wrap around this to where the foam wouldn't stick to the carbon, right? Well, when I wrapped it in saran wrap and pulled it tight to where I got nice tight curves, guess what it did? It deformed the foam. So right now I've actually got somewhat of correct right angles on the top and the bottom. The minute you wrapped it in saran wrap to try to seal it, it deformed it, kind of like a banana. Every corner was pulled tight. Even it's just, I set it back on the rigger and I was like, I can't use that. So we're just going to lay carbon fiber over top of it, and we're going to wet it, pack it down, give it maybe 30 minutes to dry. Then we're going to lay another piece on top of it. I think I'm going to do 2, maybe 3 layers. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes along the process. And we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so what I ended up doing, I tried it on here. The foam just, it just wouldn't work. The foam kept pushing around. I don't know, it's acting funny. So I moved it over, transpired it to a piece of cardboard. I use this piece of veil cloth here, and that's going to be my separation barrier. I'll peel it off and it'll give me a nice finish. And this is breather cloth. The reason why we're going to use this is because we're going to stick it in the vacuum bag. We're going to lay it flat and we're going to vacuum it down, and hopefully it works. Wish me luck. Now if you remember, like 6 months ago, this isn't really far off of how I made the top hatch for my Mystic 29, Miss Geico 29. You know, I made a mold out of plaster and it held for I think 4 pulls. I pulled 4 different hatches out of that mold before it failed. I've still got one of them here that I've never finished. I have this one here. It was just kind of too small. I needed to do better with it, and the last final product I got was really good. But this is going to be a little different. So let's go ahead, turn this on, let's see what happens. Seemed to work pretty good. Trying to make sure it conforms to all those little nooks and crannies. I've got the hose right here on the breather cloth. That's allowing the air to pass to the point only around the carbon fiber. That's why I put it right there where that suction port was. One part that I learned about the other. I worried about doing this from the get-go because I was afraid that the vacuum would like deform the foam. Like maybe it would suck the foam down smaller. But in all actuality, I think that may actually be the right decision. Because any weird laminations or anything like that, I think we can probably sand it out of it. And all we do is put the cap on, and we're good to go. And I got to check the bag in about 10 minutes to see if the bag doesn't seal. I went back and forth with the zipper piece here 3 times, and hopefully that's enough. That was one thing I found trying to vacuum the other one. It didn't like the sharp edges. So that's why when I started this project, I noticed, man, I can't use the metal. I've got to switch over to cardboard or the metal might cut into the bag. So luckily I had a bunch of these bags. I've actually tried these from Family Dollar, which were cheap. And then I bought these off of Amazon. I went and hurried up and opened up this, and I was like, no, those are big. I knew I had some smaller ones. I still had a bunch. I still got some jumbos and whatnot. But the vacuum, I call it the Redneck Vacuum Forming because that's kind of what it is. It works pretty good. So we're going to give this 24 hours to cure, and I'll catch y'all in about 5 seconds, and I'll show you all when we pull it out. Alright, it's been about 24 hours, and we're going to go ahead and open this thing up and see what the carbon fiber top hatch looks like. Let's pull this out. Reusable. We'll see. Let's go ahead and try to open this up on camera here. We're going to pull off the breather cloth. Oh, that stuck to it really good. I don't know how well this is going to pull off of here. Oh, that pulled off pretty easy. I did put, like on the other side of this where the carbon fiber went to it, I actually did apply wax to it really quickly. So theoretically it should pop off of the cardboard. Yep, see. Very nice, very nice. Look at that, that's dope. Foam is still pliable, so worst case scenario, I just cut the foam out. This was kind of like my test piece. I didn't really know how well it would work. Redneck ingenuity, baby. And so far from what I'm seeing, at the base of the seams, it seems it seems pretty good. Seems pretty good at the seams. Golly. Ah, look at that! Perfect! That's dope! Oh my god. Alright, let's get a closer look at this. Alright, so as you can tell, we've got the bubble hatch, and it's pretty solid. Pretty good. So what I need to do now is I need to pretty much just use this top piece, and this is the size that we need to cut it out in order for it to fit. So in theory, my thought was I can just trace around it with like a Sharpie, and then I can cut it out, and then I can slowly mold it to fit. Now I'm not sure if this foam is going to pop out or not. I may just go ahead and take a razor blade and run a razor blade around it, and that may help. Some of it's staying in there, unfortunately. We can get it out, but it's kind of adhered to the epoxy, which I kind of figured it might. That was originally why I wanted to cover the piece in saran wrap, which saran wrap might have worked with the vacuum bag. I'll just have to make another one of these cone-shaped pieces, these domes here. But if you look at that, I mean, look at the seam. It's perfect. The real testament, got a little bit of a gap here where epoxy sucked away. What ends up happening is it wicks into this material and pulls it away. That's why I felt like I should have waited a little bit longer before I put that on there, but cool. I'm gonna go ahead and start trimming and see if we can get this to fit on the rigger. So what it looks like it's too long. Not by much, but by about maybe 1/4 of an inch. You know, I made the foam piece to fit. I should have made it a little smaller. I might be able to work it, but we'll go put it on the rigger and see what it looks like. Now, y'all might think I'm crazy for wearing gloves and wearing earmuffs, but when you sand carbon fiber, it's extremely loud. One, you know, just for me, I can focus more when I have hearing protection on. Secondly, when you sand this stuff, you get a really fine dust in the air. You don't want those carbon fiber particles, you know, you don't want to breathe them in. So that's why you wear a mask. Let's go ahead and, yeah, y'all are in the frame, okay. So, looks like it's just a smidge too big. If we look, let's just line up the front. I could make it work, but then one side's not going to be closed. Another thing you could do, you could go in here and router out a little more of that wood. Or I could just make another lid. But I'm determined to try to make this one work. It's so dang on close, man. Remember, anytime you fail, it's not a failure. You just learned how not to do something. So I learned how not to do this. Next time, make it smaller. Is what it is. Well, test fit number 2 seems to be better, but we can tell. Let's just line it up with the front. And you can see here in the back just how much longer it is. I'm going to say that's through, I don't know, not quite 1/4. 3/16 of an inch maybe. But damn, if it don't fit good in the sides, I mean, that thing is perfect in the sides. It's just a smidge too long. Alright, well, I got it basically sanded down. I just took a piece of 320 and I've been rubbing it back and forth, kind of making it smaller all the way around. And it actually fits. I do have that little corner right there. Nothing I can do about that, but besides that, everywhere else it falls into place fairly well. As far as I'm concerned, the hatch tape's going to cover that up. But you know, you'll do your 4 corners of hatch tape, and I may put 2 over top of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put some epoxy over this, dress it up, make it look pretty. And then I'll probably make another one of these. I'll just do it smaller, to where my original plan was to have a flat edge and then a bubble coming up from it. So in order to do that, I need to make the piece of foam a lot smaller. So I'm gonna make this one. We'll use it because I still gotta wait for the steering servo to show up. And then once I get this all coated and pretty looking, we'll be able to run it again. Alright, I got it all coated, looking good. We'll come back here in another 24 hours. Should be all good to go. Then we'll give it a little clear coat spray. Not bad. Looks pretty cool. Alright, just waiting for some servos. Alright, well now it is like day 3, I believe. And the top hatch is pretty much all finished. All I really got to do now is just take a little bit of this 1K clear and clear coat it. Didn't turn out super duper great. We have had probably, no lie, like 6 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. So the humidity level in my garage is not really helping the curing process of my epoxy. But overall, turned out decent enough for me to use. I'm just not too happy about that little tiny open area right there, but that won't really matter when we use our tape. But it does allow us to cover it with something other than duct tape. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this
and I'm gonna put it on a piece of cardboard. We're gonna clear coat it, and then I'm gonna take the rigger inside because I just had my servo show up, so we'll be able to put that on there. And then tomorrow, this will be dry, and the rigger will be all set and ready to run. And because of all the rain, the pond out back, I don't know if y'all can see it through my nasty window. No, you can't. But the pond out back is perfect right now. So we'll be able to go out there and rip it around a couple of times. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all on the next one. Peace.